So in the last session, first let me start the AWS and let's talk. Anyway, it takes time now. So let me first this is the one. So we'll just say start the instance. Okay, now let's talk. So yesterday, I guess we have went ahead with the download and install of Java, correct? And then we focused on configuration of Java. What else, guys, we focused on? And then we're done with installation of Jenkins. Okay, so that is what we covered yesterday. And by the way, I want to know how many of you are able to successfully get your Jenkins done. How many of you are able to get it done? Please raise your hands. Okay. So how many of you did not do? Raise your hands. So only 1% seems to be did not do. Only 3. So see, magic number. I'll tell you one funny joke here. So only 3 or 4 seems to be have not done. Not done. And 7 or 8 seems to be have done. So that means in class in 30. So roughly I can take it 12 have answered and the rest they are not clear whether they have done it or not. Is that true? Respond, guys. So not clear whether you guys are done or not. So that's the reason you have to be highly interactive. So I know the pulse of how the things are going on. Okay, so those who have not done, I request you guys to get this done today. Okay. So let us go ahead and see. Yeah, 2 beta checks are passed. So we take this and copy this, open our tool. Sessions, RDP, put this, administrator, click OK. And the password, I guess I saved somewhere around here. Okay, this is a password, I guess. I'll copy this and just put it here. So I got connected. So we are good. Fine. So what you need to do is open up your C drive or go to the place where you have created that Jenkins folder, because this is a place where you need to start this. So right click and say git bash here. And once you open up, our target is to simply say java-jar. Now always guys, one best recommendation for me is, so when you're planning to start the Jenkins, please check the Java version. The reason is if there is any trouble with the Java version, Jenkins will trouble us. So first of all, if you have to know whether Java is working properly or not. Yeah, it is working properly. So it is something like there's a common sense now. If one thing works, other thing will work. Likewise, A and B. So this guy is working, so we are good to go. So we can say java-jar Jenkins dot var and press enter. So it just Jenkins is fully up and running. Now, one thing you need to notify here is, so whenever you start the Jenkins from next time after the installation, so you need to keep an eye on here what is happening. Just have an observation, that's it, not. And at some point, you should see a message that says Jenkins is fully up and running. So when the moment you see that message, it is an indication that you can open up the browser now and you're good to go and start Jenkins or log in into the Jenkins. So once you do this, please make sure that you observe the message that says Jenkins is fully up and running. So I can see this message. Now what I'll do is I'll open up the browser here. Now some students are doing a mistake of opening the browser on their computer. Okay. So please make sure that you open up the browser on the machine. Okay. So localhost :8080 because we have started this on default port number. So on Monday, kindly remind me, we'll try to start it on a different port number. Now, username. What is our username, guys? I feel this is the one which we kept, Jenkins_admin, and put the password and login. Put the password and login. So I can see that you guys have logged in now. Okay. So once you're logged in, now this is, as you know, left hand side is logo. You see the Jenkins, and beside that there is a search button, right? So we'll discuss all these things now. So today we have to focus on entirely on the dashboard. Here, this is a logout button. Beside it, you see the profile button, right? In the profile button, you'll have builds, configure, my views, and credentials. Okay. And after beside the, what you can say, just before this profile button, you have some red color, correct? And there's some kind of an indication like warning. So this indicates that this is an updates area. So if you have any updates in the Jenkins, it will show up here. And anything that you want to search in the Jenkins, you can use the search bar here. Now this is a dashboard. Left hand side is called menu area. I repeat, left hand side is called menu area. And middle part where you see the Jenkins, welcome to the Jenkins message. The middle part is classified as job listing area. So I repeat once again. So let me take the screenshot and put it in your notes so that you guys can know what is what. Now in this, I'm not sure if I can write the text here. Okay, so let's put like this. So this part is classified as menu. This part. Okay. And this part is classified as job listing area. So middle part is job listing area and this part is menu. And this is your icon part and this is a search. And this is, see guys, this part is interesting what I am just trying to highlight. The reason is this is a place where you'll get some notifications if there is any trouble in the Jenkins. Okay, I'm not talking about pipeline. I'm talking about if the Jenkins is not working. Like, let's imagine you're driving a car. Okay, so in the car you'll have some kind of, in the dashboard you'll have some signals now. So let's say if the battery signal comes up, it's an indication that there's a problem with the battery. So let's say if the oil signal comes up, it indicates that there is a low in oil, correct? So likewise, different signals on the dashboard in the car. Here also, any trouble in the Jenkins, it will come up here. Okay, I'm not talking about the pipelines, not the build. Jenkins. And this is a profile area. And this is a logout button. That's it. So these are the major areas that you need to know here. Are we clear on this? Please confirm, guys. Are we clear? Quick, so that I'll move on. Because understanding dashboard and terminals are super important, because I see that some students are not able to figure it out if the interviewer is talking little technical. Okay, they'll say that so I need to go into the menu, or let's say what is job listing area. So you should be super clear what is job listing area, those kind of things. 1 second, let me paste it here. Okay. Now here you need to know what is left hand side now. So please write the options. The option called new item. First of all, we'll talk in general. Then one after the other we'll talk in deep. In further classes, we'll try to go through the options in deep, guys. But at this point, you need to know what is used for which option. So new item is used to create the pipelines, or new item is used to create the job, or new item is used to create the project. See, whether I say a project or a job or a pipeline, all meaning same, because these are all the terminologies that have evolved in the industry, guys. Got it? So some tools call it as a job, some tools call it as pipeline, some tools they say project, but technically in the Jenkins, they refer by two words. They say job or a pipeline. Got it? And the next is people. So the people option will show you how many user accounts you have in Jenkins. So whatever the user accounts that you created in the Jenkins, it will show you the entire list of the users that are created in the Jenkins. Okay. And the next one is build history. Like in your mobile phone, you have incoming and outgoing, correct? Like a call history. Exactly. In the Jenkins, whatever the builds happen, whether the builds have been successful, whether the builds have been failed, whether the builds have been cancelled. So whatever the reason it could be, all those being tracked under the build history. So that's the use of build history, something exactly equal to your call history stuff. And the next option is manage Jenkins. So manage Jenkins is exactly equal to your Android phone, somewhat looks like settings. So in a phone, if you go to the settings, you'll find a lot of options now where you can configure a lot of things. Likewise here, if you go into the manage Jenkins, you'll find a lot of settings here that you can configure. Got it? So that's the use of manage Jenkins. Next is my views. So like you create your own wallpaper for your mobile phones, now you change your screensaver wallpapers. So likewise here also, if you want to create your customized dash view, then you need to go into the my views. So I repeat once again, new item is to create the projects or jobs or pipelines. People option to see how many user accounts are there in Jenkins. Build history is to check what builds happened or whether have been success, failed, or cancelled. Because only 3 chances are there, guys. Whether it has been success or a failed or a cancelled. Fourth one, entire settings of the Jenkins is located here. And the next one is my views to create the customized builds. Okay. Now, next one is like build queue and build executor status. Got it? So what is the difference? Now, under the build executor status, guys, please tell me what is the number that you see over there? How many numbers do you see there under build executor status? How many numbers do you see, Bhagat, Priyanka, Rahul? So Rahul, we have how many? It's 2. So if you see the 2, it indicates that the capability of the Jenkins at this point of time is 2. That means it can handle 2 jobs at a time. That's it. Got it now? So the capability of the Jenkins is configured to handle 2 jobs at a time. Now, what happens if suddenly the Jenkins server receives 4 requests? So think a use case where the Jenkins is receiving 4 incoming requests. So the capability is configured to handle only 2. So those 2 will go and sit in build executor, right? Build executor. Build executor is exactly will show you what is executing in the processor. So whoever is getting build or getting executed, so that will show under executors, guys. And the rest of the guys will sit. Rest of the guys are 2. They have to go and sit in the queue. Okay. So it is something like doctor stuff only, guys. So let's say in the doctor you have line now. You have to follow your line, your queue. Correct. So whoever is inside the cabin, the doctor has a look on the patient. Correct. So generally, what is the capacity of a doctor, guys? Just an example. I'm just taking. How many can sit in a cabin in a doctor room? Only 1. That's common sense. Everybody knows from childhood. So at any point of time, only 1 patient should enter the cabin and they get checked and come out. But in the Jenkins, it is 2. And the rest of the people have to sit in the queue. Now the question comes is, can we increase this capacity or can we decrease this capacity? What is your opinion? Can we increase this capacity and can we decrease this capacity? So the answer is yes. The simple answer is we can increase and decrease. So that you have to go into the settings and do it. So that's not a big deal. You can just Google it. You'll find how to increase a build queue. You'll find a lot of answers. These are all small things that you can, let's say, navigate into the settings and see where is that option. Now here the experience stuff is, so if you say that I carry the experience, then that is where the logic will they start generating. So generally, if you want to configure, so this is how you need to know. 1 GB of RAM can take up to 3 or 4 builds, guys. This is my analysis. From my experience, I can tell 1 GB of RAM can take up to 3 or 4 builds. 3 is minimum it can take and can go max up to 4. Okay. So let's say always your load is like around 6 builds regularly. How much of RAM scale up you need to do for that machine? Always the regular load of that machine is, let's say, always incoming request will be, or you can say the average value of number of builds done per day. If you see the average count, it's revolving around 6. How much RAM is required for the server to scale up? So that is where they'll ask you guys as a DevOps engineer. So they'll say that they'll come back to you and say that, okay, our servers are super lag. Okay. So DevOps, can you please suggest me what we have to do? So first of all, you need to know what is an average load, right? So the assumption is 1 GB of RAM can take load up to 3 or 4 builds or an average. So if the average is revolving around 6, then definitely you need to recommend to the management saying that this machine requires to scale up 2 GB of RAM. So that's an equation. Clear? Please write this formula, guys. So this formula you will only know unless you work in the industry practically. It's common even in the other build tools also. 1 GB of can RAM handle at least of 3 to 4 builds. 3 is a minimum number, good number, and 4 is somewhat you can say fine. but going beyond 4 is always a load. Is it done? Okay, nice. So I'm getting a question from Anuja. So in between of the project scale up is required, is there any issue? Yes. So normally what happens is the team will approach your development team or testing team. They will approach you saying that, okay, our machines are running super slow. Then we have to do some audit. Why it is slow? Is it because of the code or is it because of the load of the server? Okay, number of builds are increasing, that you need to calculate. If it is code, then you can ignore. Okay, if it is load on the server, then definitely. See, you need to find the idle time, because generally RAM scaling will be done when the system is idle. So you need to scale up the capacity of the system and then restart the Jenkins. You have to shut down the Jenkins and restart. There is no loss of data. There is no loss of data, guys. Okay, so we'll talk about the data sometime in the future classes. You'll get that, not to be worried. Okay, so these are the options. Now let's get into the manage Jenkins. Now I want you guys to write all these options, guys. Please write these options. If I ask you where I need to configure the Bluetooth in the phone, what do you answer? Or where I need to check my SIM settings? You know it because you guys use the Android mobile phones from couple of years. You'll be very flexible and comfortable in telling the navigation paths, correct? At least where the option is. So likewise here, your duty is to mug up this. So basically the settings have been configured into categories here. You can see system configuration is one category. Security is one category. They have given 4 options here. Status information is one category, and they have given the 4 options for us. And troubleshooting is one option, and they have given only one option here. And tools and actions is one category, and they have given us the 4 options. Now, interesting point is if you want to know what is the use of each option, okay, so before I teach, and if you are curious, then basically it's a simple, you need to read the statement there. See, for example, configure system helps you to configure global settings and paths. Okay, global tool configuration helps to configure the tools and their locations and automatic installs. Manage plugins, add, remove, disable, enable plugins. So at the bottom, you have the short word description of use of this option, guys. So that helps you to understand what is it. But if you want a deep, then just go ahead and try and see. You click on it, first of all. You guys click on it and see what are the options. Then you will come to know what are the options exist here. Got it? So now interesting point is, very, very interesting point, that do we need to configure all the options in the Jenkins, whatever you see? Is that your feeling, guys? So whatever you see here, you see a lot of options now. Do you think is that required to configure every option? No. This is what you need to know. We don't configure all the options here. We only configure the options which are required and on demand. That's it. Like even when you buy your mobile phone, it's the same case. Though I have given the settings option for you. So on the day 1 itself or day 2 itself, we don't enable all the options in the mobile. So as you go and use it, as the necessity arises, we just go into the appropriate settings and make necessary changes. Likewise here also, as you keep on using the Jenkins, you may come under a situation where you might visit, let's say, manage plugins and you'll install a plugin. Or you may visit global tool configuration settings and do some changes in it. So this is super common. You need to know that on the day 1 itself, we don't configure anything. All the configurations are optional. If required, we configure. If not required, we don't touch them. Am I clear, Mayuri? Vijay, Upendra, Sushmita. So this is one GK you need to know, because students get panicked thinking that, okay, all the options here I need to configure. So in your mind, you have to know that, okay, these are options here. When demand comes, we'll go there and do it. Now, how do you do it? Everything is Googling only. Even I do Googling, you have to do Googling. But interesting part is, so experience matters. Since I have good experience, what I'll do is instead of Googling, I directly go into the option and check it. Since you guys are new here, you need to spend some time knowing what is option at which, and Google also helps you. And also interesting, we have a lot of documentation on it. So Jenkins provides you the documentation, and that documentation will help you to tell what configurations you have to do. Okay, so I recommend you to take down these options now. Quickly, write this. Please write this. You need to by heart this, guys. Under system, at least remember the keywords. Like our education system is super talented that if you know the side headings, you will generate the answers, correct? Exclusively Osmania University. Here, JNTUH and JNTUK, our South Indian style. What is that? We don't study entire textbook, not required. We just study the side heading, automatically we generate the data. So how many of your BTechs here? That is what we do now. Do you read entire story of the theory? Do you guys read? Have you guys read first of all? No, we just only read the main points, side headings. Interestingly, at least Mayuri said she reads the main points, but you have talented guys here who don't even read main points. They just want the side heading. That's it. What is side heading? Side point. See, Nayak wants only diagram, it seems. If you give the diagram, he'll explain the entire answer. That's funny. Okay, so take down the security as well. So please write the options of security. So under security, you have something called configure global security, manage credentials, configure credential providers, manage users. The next, under status information. First one is system information. Second is system log. Third is load statistics. And fourth is about Jenkins. I repeat, system information, system log, load statistics, about Jenkins. Then troubleshooting, only one option, that is manage old data. Under tools and actions, you have reload configuration from the disk, Jenkins CLI, script console, and preparing for shutdown. Now, you have to be super clear from here onwards about the subject. All the tools that you're going to learn from now, since we started the second tool, that is Jenkins. Whether you take it Jenkins or whether you take it the Ansible or whether you take it, let's say Chef, right? Whatever, let's say Docker or Kubernetes, whatever the tools that you're going to learn, you need to think very positively here about what dimension you need to cover this subject. Because here the tool will contain three angles. That is developmental kind of learning the subject. And next thing is administration oriented subject. And implementation subject. So implementation exactly comes under the DevOps. Clear? So you need to see all the tools from the perspective of the implementation only. How to get this done. That's it. So we don't focus on like developing the tool, or we don't focus on administering the tool. So our criteria is to how to get the things done in the tool from the DevOps perspective. So that is how you need to see the subject, or you need to limit your scope to that only, guys. Fine. Now here, keeping that in mind, so we'll just go ahead and explore some of the options here. So the first one is about Jenkins. So about Jenkins that you see on the screen. So this is going to tell you what are the ingredients or what are the things or what are the softwares they have used to in developing the Jenkins. So which version of the Jenkins you guys are learning? See, I asked a candidate from Tech Mahindra in one of the interviews. He kept 6 years of experience in Jenkins. Okay. He said almost in his previous projects, he told that he was working very good thing with the Jenkins. So only very direct question. First strong question was, which version of Jenkins are you using in your current project? That's it. He got stuck. Which version of Jenkins you are using in your project? That is what the question. He could not answer. Then I changed the question. So I told him that you worked in the 3 projects now. So can you tell me in the 3 projects, what are the versions of Jenkins that you handled? So what does it indicate, guys? If we cannot give the version number, what does it indicate? Tell me. So if the candidate who got 6 years of experience who told that I worked with Jenkins, and if he's not able to produce the version number, at least something, some number, okay, it indicates that it's a fake profile. So that is how these are the minute things. You'll think that these are minute, but these are the things which will focus to identify whether you're genuine or not. Okay, little minute details are sometimes are dangerous. So I want you guys to maintain all the versions. So whatever the version that you're learning, please maintain some kind of a detail on it. What version of Git you guys learned, right? What version of Jenkins you're learning. So make a note, your Jenkins version you guys are learning is 2.375.2. At least you give that first 2 numbers, that they'll be happy. 2.375. The last one is patch number. Major version is 2, minor version is 375, and the last is patch version. It's major, minor, patch. So here you can see the list is very extensive, guys, right? So this is what they used, a lot of tools in developing the Jenkins. So this is a gray area, or you can say this is a rough estimate where you can know what they have used in developing the Jenkins. So that is the Jenkins stuff. And the next one is system information. Now, system information is very handy and important. Definitely it's an handy and important for you guys. The reason is sometimes, okay, the management may approach you asking, hey guys, they'll ping you saying, okay, can you quickly provide our Jenkins infrastructure details, info details quickly? Can you send me the details? So generally your leads will come back to you and saying that, can you produce or give me the results of our Jenkins server in detail? So they can ask you, okay, what version of the Java is running on the Jenkins server? Or they can ask you, okay, on which platform it is running, right? And some other details, whatever they are looking. So here you need to come. System properties is a place where you find the details of Jenkins server details, guys. Because on this machine, we install the Jenkins. That's the reason this machine is called as Jenkins server. So here you can see a lot of details. So it is telling that I am using this version of Java, correct? I am using Jenkins.war file, right? And I'm using platform. Which platform? It will show you OS also. Wait, see. I'm running on AMD, and this is the Windows Server 2002 OS version, platform version, and from where it is operating. So this is super important. From where it is operating, C drive Jenkins, correct? And who is operating? Who hosted this? It is hosted under the administrator account. And which time zone it is? It is this time zone. You know why this? Okay, one crazy example, guys. This has recently happened in one of the use case where student messaged me. He was working in some organization, my previous student. So the use case was This time zone is UTC now. Please take down this use case. So the current time zone of the Jenkins server seems to be UTC, and I want to change that to EST. How do you do it? Any clue? It's a simple common sense question, that is. Super engineering on Googling is also not required. So currently time zone is UTC. UTC, universal. Everybody knows, I hope. So UTC, correct? I'm planning to change this, put the mission on EST. So what to do? The question comes is change time. Everybody agrees that we have to change the time. Now the question comes is where? Is it in the Jenkins you need to change, or is it in the system? Where you need to change? So the answer is in the system. Please write it, because whatever the system's time zone is there, this is one use case for your experience case. So whatever the system's time zone is there, correct? The same time zone is picked up by the Jenkins. That's it. So you don't have an option in the Jenkins to change the time zone. So please be clear. They will wantonly drag you to the wrong place. So they can ask you a question in the Jenkins, where do you change the system time? The answer is wrong. So question itself is dragging into the wrong place. We don't have any option in the Jenkins to change the time zone. So the point is, if you change the system time and you shut down the Jenkins and make it up, then it will change. Make sense? Got it now? So you have to update the system time, then shut down the Jenkins and make it up. It will pick up the latest time zone, whatever you given for your system. So that is the answer here. And these are other environment variables that you can see what is configured. So this is a great place to come and see what is there, what is not there. And interestingly, so these kind of details become very handy to you when you are facing some troubleshooting, guys. Okay. Some troubleshooting, let's say you got some error and you Googled on the internet, and it will tell you that, okay, so go and check whether this value is correct or this path is correct. All these values are here only. So at the time of troubleshooting also, this helps in a great references also. So that's the use case of system properties or system information. And the next most important service is, or option is, system log. Okay, here you need to know knowledge. So logs in the Jenkins are of two types. Please write this quickly. This is not there in class notes. Please write it. So logs in the Jenkins are of two types. So one is called system log and second one is called build logs. System logs and build logs. So we are talking about the system logs here. So system logs will only track the functionality of the Jenkins. Okay, whether it is, because that's the meaning of log itself, to track everything. So here the question comes is what it is tracking. So it is tracking the functionality of the Jenkins server here. That's the point. So build logs will track the functionality. I mean to say functionality means here I'm talking about in and out, right? So whatever it is happen. Generally people call this reference as events also. We call this as events. Here also we can say event. So every build that happens itself is an event. So that means it tracks the every build results. So that's the use of build logs. So build log is in the main dashboard. Now currently we have to restrict our knowledge to this case. So if somebody says, where do you check the system logs? Then you need to come here. Okay. System logs, right? System logs will track only the Jenkins, not builds. So whether whether Jenkins came up properly or not, how the, what you can say, the interactions in the Jenkins, internal communications of the Jenkins is working fine or not, everything is tracked here. If you see some trouble in the Jenkins, you have to come to the system logs only. Now, if somebody asks, where do you check the build logs? Then you have to go to the build history here. This is a place. So clarity is for build logs, you need to go to the build history, and Jenkins server logs, you need to go to the system logs. Clear? So that is the use of that system logs. The next option is load statistics. So this will show the utilization of the Jenkins, but since we just started the mission and it is new, very young, correct? So you will not have great data here. But technically in a real time, you'll see a lot of graph generated over there. A lot of graph will be there where you need to figure it out, okay, whether it is on load or not in the load. So how do you identify? So once the graph generates, you have the indicators here. So green color is one indication, red color is one indication. Okay, some color is one indication here. So that you will able to figure it out only when you have very good data here. So after a couple of days working with the Jenkins, you can visit this place once again and see the statistics. So that's the use of load statistics. And the next most important option to know at this point of time is manage user space. This one. Next. So this option will help you to create the users first of all, to know how many user accounts are there and to create the user accounts also. Now tell me how many user accounts are there here. Only one. That is what we created. The first account that you create by default, it will carry the admin power, guys. That means that ID, whatever you created yesterday or we created, it carries full power. That's it. Okay. And whatever the account. Now the interesting question is the first account that you created, you do not have an option to delete first of all. There is no option to delete at all. So keep in mind the first account that you created does not, you cannot delete it, simple, because that's a king. Okay. Now you can create accounts here. You can click on create user and create multiple users. For example, I want to say Jenkins underscore user 01. I'm giving some password. And also I'm giving some confirm the password. What password I gave, I forgot. Hold on. This also gave something. Hold on. Then full name. I'll say Jenkins user 01. Email address. So I gave some dummy information. Click on create. The one user account created, right? Now you can see the delete button here. So that is what I was telling. The users that you create in the Jenkins, you have the capability to delete them. But the first account that we created, no, we cannot. Okay. So this is what we can delete. Now I want to show you how do you log. So I created an account. I'll do one thing. I'll log out and come back here and I'll say Jenkins underscore user 01 and type the password, whatever you given. So does it look everything same? See the account Jenkins underscore user 01 and you see the menu. All the options look same. Got it now? So everything looks same. So what I'll do is I'll log out and I'll go back to my admin account and I'll create one more. So I'll create one more here. I'll create one more. I'll say Jenkins underscore user 02 and put some password and confirm the password and then give some username. Sorry, full name Jenkins user 02 and email ID Jenkins underscore 02 at gmail.com and click on create user. So user account got created. Again, same story. I'll log out and I'll try to log in. Now the question comes is here. Now we can see the user 2 is also got the same dashboard what admin has. Now, do you find any fundamental difference between admin and user 01 and user 02? Do you find any kind of differences here? Tell me, guys, did we impose any kind of restriction? See, whatever the admin dashboard was looking like, entirely user 1001 is also carrying the same thing. And user 02 is also carrying the same thing. The reason is we focused only on the user creation process, but we did not focus on controlling the users. So as long as you do not control the users, they will carry the full power. So keep in mind, that means we need to implement something concept called UAC. Did you heard this sometime? Anywhere is this word? UAC? UAC? What is this? User access control. Correct, that's a full form. User access control, right? So exactly. So once you start implementing some controls on the user, they will be able to lose. We can control this option. But at this point of time, something like it's a profiling guys. So at this point of time, user 02 has been just created, but we did not profile him for controlling. So let's go ahead and log out and get into the Jenkins and see how to control the users now. So click on sign in and go to the manage Jenkins. Now this time you have to visit a place called configure global security. This is an option. So earlier we focused on manage users now. Now we have to focus on configure global security. So before you do that, you need to know where to change the passwords. Let's say one of the user in your project forgot the password. Let's say he went on break, or I mean to say on vacation. Generally, there's a common tendency that IT employees forget their passwords after they come from vacation. Is that true? This generally happens also. They'll forget their passwords, guys. So 4 or 5 days they go on break and come back and they'll try to figure it out. Okay, they'll start thinking about, okay, what was the password? And some people who do not trust their memory, so what they do? Tell me, guys. What's the funny thing? If you do not trust the memory, what do you do? Or if your memory is bad, what do you do? Yes. So we use some methodology here, like we write somewhere. That is absolutely right. We write somewhere. Whether you write it in your diary or whether you save it to your passwords in the browser or you write it in a notepad and save it or sticky pad, it's okay. The point is you're trying to put it at some place. Okay. So that means we are not trusting our human brains. So normally this was a tendency we forget. Even I forget also. So now the question comes is how do you change the password? So let's say if you are in if you are in admin capacity and some, let's say admin 02 approached you, then what you need to do is directly open up this admin to settings and update his password. You can update his email ID also, like here, somewhere here, see passwords. You can update and share that information to him. And as a user, if you log in, imagine as a user, if you log in and if you want to change your password yourself, then go to something called configure. Imagine. So configure is a place when configure is nothing but settings. Same thing. You will come to your here and update your password by yourself. So if you forget the password, then you need to approach the admin. And if you want to change the password for yourself, then you need to go to the configure. Simple. Yourself is configure. You forgot, not able to log in, approach the admin. They will change it. So that's the use of that. Now going into the, so normally passwords resets are done by admin because normally I'm telling you. So in a good project, Jenkins admins will be there and you'll also have the DevOps engineer. So both are capable of changing the passwords. So if the admin forgets the password, then what happens? Very good answer. If the admin forgets the password, what will happen, guys? What will happen? If admin himself forgot the password. So what challenge you'll have? So Atif, are you fresher? Okay. So if you're a fresher, you're asking the right question. Now, I want the answers from experienced people. Some of you are here are developers. Some of you are test engineers. Some of you are working as an admin for system Linux and Windows. Tell me, answer for this. So, is there any possibility that admin will forget his password? Logic is, if admin himself forgets his password, is that possible? Normally, in a big companies, it is not possible. They will kill him. I'm telling you frankly. If that guy forgets his password, they will kill him literally. It's not possible. That's the one thing. So, second thing is, they never give the admin power fully to the one user. So alternatively, what will happen is they'll create multiple accounts, multiple like we already created now. So multiple user accounts with 2 or 3, let's say 2 or 3 with admin power. So if one admin forgets, another admin will log in and get the things right. Got it answer, Atif? Somebody was asking this, Atif Ali Khan. Yeah. You got it now what I'm talking? So that is what. So something like for your car or a bike, we don't depend on one key. So always it is safety to have 2 or 3 keys with us, correct? If you lost one key, we'll use another key. Likewise, it normally in Jenkins also in real time. So don't think that only you'll have one admin account. 2 or 3 admin accounts will be there. They'll create it because as a backup, that is what happens. And interestingly, if the admin forget the password, literally it's a shame on him only. Correct? So admins, first of all, not supposed to forget their passwords. If user is forgetting, that makes sense. That makes sense. It's common. So if the admin is forgetting its password, they'll smile at us. So that is what practicality I'm talking. Okay. The next bother about this, configure global security. So this is a place where you need to come and visit to configure the user now. That means I want to control the user. Okay. Now, the first option, it says authentication. Authentication, right? You need to understand 2 things here. Authentication. Now in the authentication, the first system is disable remember me. If you put a check mark, what happens, Jenkins will not ask any ID and password at all. The moment you put that local host and port number and press enter, it will directly open. Something like doors are open for your home. You want that to happen? You want that to happen, guys? Do you think this is one of the options they given, but practically that is not a good practice in a real time. So in a real time, always they want the Jenkins to ask the ID and password and then log in. But if you put a check mark like this, what happens? It will not ask ID and password. So which is not a good practice, but they have given an option. Now bother about security realm. So security realm talks about what ID and password you're supposed to use to get into the Jenkins. I repeat once again, you need to catch this very logic here, because in this you see a lot of options. See, delegate to a servlet container. Okay, Jenkins own user database, LDAP, none. Okay, 4 options are there. So currently it is pointing to the Jenkins own user database. So what does it mean? It means that whatever the IDs and passwords that you have created in the Jenkins, only those IDs are allowed to log in into the Jenkins. That's it. Let's say you changed this to LDAP. What happens? You know what is an LDAP full form, first of all? LDAP full form, please. Google it. You should also know Googling skill sets, guys. Please search on the internet and give me the answer. So what is the LDAP full form? I'll give you, I guess it hardly takes a minute. Google it, guys. So LDAP full form is lightweight directory access protocol. So this is a correct definition. LDAP full form is, this is a full form, please write it. So lightweight, it is a single word actually. So lightweight directory access protocol. So this is a full form of LDAP. So LDAP is a mother of your client and server technology invention. So client and server technology itself is nothing but LDAP concept. Okay. And when we should use this? So this is an option you should use. I'll give a use case. So please take down the story, the use case story. So you should use this option when, let's say the guys have sent you some laptop and desktop. Imagine you joined an organization, you got some job, they'll definitely will give you some laptop or desktop to work. Do you agree? Yes or no, guys? Or do you think they'll give you a mobile phone and tablet? What they'll give? Tell me, laptop or a desktop? So these guys, I meant to say, in the current trend, most of the companies are giving laptops only. Laptops. Most desktop era is going out. So mostly are giving laptops. You know, one interesting thing newly happening from after Corona. New thing is emerging, especially in the startup companies. What is that? Anybody? Good answer here. I'm expecting you. No. Work from home, I know. I'm talking about this laptop desktop story only. So new thing I'm just observing. A new thing is the companies, especially this is happening with startup companies, not big companies. Startup companies came up with a new thought, new gimmick, or new gimmick only. That looks like gimmick only. So the gimmick is they want to use your laptop and desktop. They don't want to send the laptop and desktop to you. They say that they'll send the offer letter in everything. They'll tell you that okay, you can work from home, but to use your laptop or a desktop. This is a new thing I see that emerging. And for this, if you're planning to use your laptop or a desktop, they are giving incentive of, I saw that people are giving 500 to 900 rupees per month as a salary extra upon the salary. Did you saw this, guys? Did you heard this? Especially in startup companies, that is happening. So, because they feel that giving the laptop to the employee is a risk. Because everybody are working from home now. You're working from home, and if you're, let's say, there's a risk there. And you may damage the laptop or desktop, whatever it is. Again, it's a cost to the company. The new gimmicks in the market is, so they're saying that no, we are not going to send the laptop or desktop. You use your laptop or a desktop, we'll pay you more 500 or 900 rupees per month. Or that is how they are negotiating now. Correct? So that's a new technique. So you can ignore this. But here my point is here. So once you join an organization, definitely they'll give you some laptop or a desktop to work. So when they give the laptop desktop to work, definitely they would give you some ID and password to log in. Am I right? They will definitely give you some ID and password to log in. Correct? And that ID and password, right? Right, with security, that's common. They'll share you some ID and password. If you want that ID and password to be working, even same for the Jenkins. You use the same ID and password that you used for system. You use the same ID and password to log in into the Jenkins. So that is where you will enable this option. Are we clear when to use this option? This is generally handled by the admins, but you should know this knowledge. That's it. So LDAP is an option we use when you want your laptop's ID and password to be used as your Jenkins ID and password. So under these circumstances, it's bothering about your Windows knowledge here. So generally in a Windows network, you'll have something called LDAP server or Active Directory server. So you need to know where the catalog is. The people who are from Windows administration, they know what I'm talking. So on a catalog, wherever the catalog server exists, they'll provide this information. And let's say if you're not aware of all these jungle things, so not to be worried. So you will sit in a call with Windows admin guys in your office and ask them to configure the LDAP. You share the screen, they will give you all the details. Your duty is to fill up the details here. That's it. You ask him where is our LDAP server, he will provide you. You ask him what is root DNN, he will provide you. What is a user search base? What are these details? He will give you all the details because these details are given to you only by that person. So end of the day, the moral of this is you have some options in the Jenkins where you need to carry the knowledge and you can do it. Clear? But you have some options in the Jenkins where they are dependent on other support team. You need to get in call with them and get it done. Clear now? Are you clear what I'm talking, guys? So there will be some options in the Jenkins. You have the freedom with your knowledge. You can set it up. Okay. Because that's in your control. But again, in the Jenkins, you have some options here where you will not have complete information with you. Definitely you need to approach some other guy in your project and take out those details and fill it here. So that is what I'm trying to tell you. So this LDAP information is not in your control. So you need to talk to the person who manages the Windows infrastructure in your company and talk to them and get the details and fill it here. And none means nobody can log in. Nobody can log in. And Jenkins one user database, it makes sense. And this is delegate to servlet container. So here it is something like API calling reference and getting logging in by API. Okay. So this is not a preferred option in most of the companies. So 90% of the organizations are using this option. Based on my experience, I can sell that in the market. 90% of the companies are using with option called Jenkins one user database. The reason is, example, if it is Jenkins one user database, correct? If there is any headache here with ID and password, simply you can approach any Jenkins admin guy or any DevOps engineer guy, they'll help you. That's simple. But if you enable an option that says LDAP, what is the point of escalation? First admin, right? Generally DevOps will check. If it is not, admin will come into the picture, Jenkins admin. If he's not able to fix it, then it will go to the LDAP fellow. Am I right, guys? So that means you're creating your infrastructure complex, or your escalation path is high. So that's the reason most of the organizations are choosing with this option. Okay, we decided about what login and password to be used. So we'll go with Jenkins on. The next is authorization here. So authorization. So something like you buy the ticket. So once you buy the ticket, you've gone into the theater. What is your duty? What is your duty, guys? What do you guys will do? So person who buy the ticket can do anything. So these options I'm just replacing. That's it. The person who buy the ticket can do anything. Just I'm replacing the words, English words. Anyone can do anything. They're all. First of all, those options only will are looking like funny. Correct. Anyone can do anything. Do you want this to be dangerous option to be enabled? No. You know Balakrishna, famous actor. So anyone can do anything. It looks like Balakrishna only. So if you all, that is how it looks like. The next one, log legacy mode. So what is the second option? If you make this option, what happens is whatever the power the admin carries, the same power will carried by the users also. And this by default legacy mode. Then logged in users can do anything. So, but interesting is here is logged in users can do anything, but see the check mark, allow anonymous read access only. So that means you can see the Taj Mahal, but you can't scratch the Taj Mahal. That is how it looks like. Am I correct, guys? So you buy the ticket for Taj Mahal viewing, you can only view, but you cannot scratch it. So it is exactly looks like that. So logged in, come in into the gate, come inside of the Jenkins, correct? You get in, but only just see and go. You can't change any options. So that is called read access. Okay. So that is what you can control. The next most important option is matrix based security. So this is important for your interview because almost 99% of the market of Jenkins is using matrix based security. And you'll find in top 10 interview questions of the Jenkins, most popular questions is one of them is matrix based security. These are all very popular questions, guys. Like when you written the 10th class exam in your school age, you predict the model paper now. Likewise, under the predictability of the model paper for Jenkins, this question is there. So matrix based security, they can ask you what is the matrix based security in the Jenkins, or how you'll control the users in the Jenkins. Okay, which plugin you'll use, that is but matrix only. Okay, so matrix based security is the most preferred option to control the users. Now the point of interest is, so here you will find a lot of options, correct? They categorized it. See, you want to manage the credentials, you want to manage the agent. So agent is nothing but build server, another build server. Job means project, run, view, SEM. So these are all make sense. You may not be able to understand at this point of time. So this makes sense after 3 or 4 days. Okay? Shortly after 3 or 4 days, you'll come back and see you'll understand automatically SEM. What is view, what is run, what is job, what is agent, what is credentials. Okay. So after 3 or 4 days, you'll come to know. But anyway, under each options, you have lot of subsidiary options, sub options, and they are written in this direction. So let's say I want to add the users. Now keep in mind, very, very important. Once you enable the matrix based security, you have to be super careful, guys. By default, you need to add the admin here. Don't forget. Make sure that you add the admin. What is our admin ID account? Jenkins underscore admin. Add him. That is nothing but my name is coming because that's a username I given. So make sure that you add the admin account here and give him full permission. So right hand side, one check mark, everything, all permissions. So in the matrix based security, all the admins should carry the full power. At least one is required, mandatory. Now, if you want to experiment the subject, add another now. So Jenkins underscore user 01. I'm adding another user account. And here what I'll do is I'll simply say put a check mark to the job, nothing else. I'm not checking everything. I'm just given this option only. I'll click on save and I'll wantedly log out. And I'll wantedly log in as Jenkins underscore user 01 and put in the password and log in. What is happening? You got the error now? What does that error say? Jenkins underscore user 01 is missing with the overall read and write permission. So let's do one thing. Let's give him more power. That is coming because we never told what is its capacity. So capacity will decide. Hold on. We'll go back to the Jenkins. We'll go to the configure global security. and here in the list. So either you want to make his as an admin or a read user. This is mandatory, guys. Any one option you need to check. That is the reason he is not able to log in. Either administer or read. So I want to give read, and rest of the option anyone. So these are all the categories: credentials management, agent management, job management, run. So I just save this. So logout. Now you'll able to understand. So we decided that this guy will be always in read mode. Read mode means non-admin account, guys. Just simply think like if you give the read access, he will be a non-administrator. If you give the admin access, he will be in admin role. That's it. Simple logic. No need to knock your heads. So he's in non-admin account. So I'm logging in now. I logged in. Now what is the change here? Do you see drastic changes in his menu? Yes. Do you see the drastic changes in the menu, guys? Now the question comes is, question number 1, can he change the settings of Jenkins, user 01? Can he change the settings of Jenkins? The answer is no. Because I don't see the manage Jenkins settings, correct? I don't see that option coming up here. Manage Jenkins setting option is not coming because we gave him the read access only. If you had have given administrator access to that fellow, then definitely you will have here something says manage Jenkins. Clear? Are we clear on this point, guys? Shankar and Prithviraj, Pavan, Nagreddy. Yeah. Now another question. Do you think the user one has capability to create a project? You need to understand the question and answer. That's it. Because we just profiled him now. Now, do you think user 01 has the capacity to create a project? The answer is no. It does not have that capacity. Because how does this fellow creates the projects if he has a new item? No? First of all, that new item option is not there. Got it, Prithvi? Understood now? So user 01 does not have the power. Okay. The next question. Third question, let's see. Can he run a job? Job means project is already created and it's visible on the dashboard. Just an example. Imagine that there is some job here in the dashboard. Can he click on it and say, please run or execute? No, that is also no, because we didn't give that permission. So that is what you need to explore, guys. Play with that options there and explore. So he's just given the power to see how many people are there. Okay, to just see the build history. That's it. Nothing more. And to see the queue. So can I say this user account fits for monitoring guy? You agree with me? Can I say that this account perfectly fits for monitoring guy? Let's say the person who is monitoring the Jenkins perfectly fits for them. The reason is a monitoring guy does not create the projects, nor he runs the projects. His only duty is to check the build histories. Only duty is to check what's going on. That's it. Right? That perfectly suits him. Now let's try with the Jenkins underscore user 02. And let me try here. Is not able to access, is not able to log in, guys. What could be the reason? What could be the reason? You see access denied I'm getting. The reason is, did we add this fellow in that table, user 02? That is the most important reason. See, once you enable the matrix, you have to make sure that you have to add the user accounts over there. Once you enable the metrics, you can't escape. You need to add the users there. If you forgot any user here to add, then they will not be able to log in. So add that fellow also here. Okay. And this guy I'm wantedly giving administrator power. And just see what happens. Or I'll remove this and I'll wantedly give a few options. Okay. Wantedly, I'm randomly giving some options so that in each segment, I'm wantedly giving something. Just randomly I given. I click on save and log out. I logged in. You see, more options came for him now. Clear? So what you need to do, you need to play with that, guys. That's it. The table. You just play with the table and automatically you'll understand after a couple of practices. Okay, log out. Now I'm going back to the admin account. Correct. I'll go back to the manage Jenkins. Right. So that is how we go there and configure the user. So if you're trying to add a user which does not exist, let's say I'm trying to add some fellow here who does not exist. So let's say Jenkins underscore user 03. We did not create user 03 at all. And if you're experimenting with user 03, this is how you'll get user not found. So the English meaning is super clear. So this user does not exist. Got it now? Now that's all about the managing security, guys. And please be super careful. Once you enable the matrix, a lot of students do this mistake. Please don't forget. So you need to make sure that it is Jenkins own user database matrix and add first admin account and experiment on the user accounts, guys. Your knowledge, please experiment on the user accounts. Don't experiment on admin account at all. Don't do that experimentation because this matrix requires at least one user to be in full capacity. If you forgot that and you taken light and you did not follow the rule of matrix, what happens, the moment you click on save and log out, if you click on save and say, let's say log out, you'll not be able to log in back. You cannot log in. That's it. You'll not be able to log in account at all. Got it now? So thumb rule, once you enable the matrix, so please make sure that you add the admin first. Don't forget that. A lot of students make a mistake of forgetting this and they wantedly create user account and add and they'll forget about the admin. So first add the admin, then create some users and add it and experiment on the users, not on the admin account. Okay. So that's all for the day, guys. I'll stop it here. And let me go ahead and get your notes and put it here. Give me a few minutes. Any questions for me? So Rahul and Kavya, your compliance trainings are done. Okay. So I was busy with some meetings today. So I was not able to spend some time with Vamsi. What is this, Ravya? I have missed 1 second. Let me copy paste and get back to you. Okay, Jenkins menu. So we have to stop it.